How to create instant rapport with anyone you are talking to, whether it is in the streets, at your job, or into your family, or with your loved ones. Sometimes it is tricky in a conflict, in a relationship. People who can't build a rapport, who can't maintain a rapport easily, endlessly get into verbal conflicts. They fight each other for no reason, and they leave angry and upset without having been able to say what they had to say. On the opposite, people who are great at building a rapport very easily, they always make new friends in the blink of an eye, even entering a new city. They can get into a good position at work because they can create some connection with the boss without being an ass licker either, but they can make themselves be seen in a good light by the people they need to get hired from or hired by, and they can always solve conflicts more easily and help people too if they are a coach, because obviously when the client trusts you more, they open up more, even about things maybe they have never said to a psychologist or anybody else. So we are going to see 3 techniques to build a rapport very easily with NLP principles and some other things I have added on top of that. First of all, before getting into those techniques, we want to address the fact that there is non-verbal rapport and verbal rapport, which may be 2 different things, 2 different sides of the same coin, but it is very important to mention those because more specifically, the non-verbal rapport, which is quite often shown as a ridiculous thing in movies where they try to mimic exactly the gestures and the facial expression of the person they're talking to. You don't have to exactly exaggerate the exact position of the person you're talking with. You don't have to do that. Rapport, basically, as a slight reframe to help your brain grasp it, rapport is just the natural consequence of respect. When you fucking show respect for good, for the people you are interacting with, rapport will naturally create itself out of the respect you are showing to the person you are talking with. If it has been years you have been angry and mad at this person, obviously there is a history that back up the potential repressed anger between the 2 of you, in which case it won't be enough to just respect the person right now. But with somebody you haven't met yet, the fucking simple fact of just showing some respect to the person, even if they don't absolutely think the way you do, that is enough to create rapport. Specifically the nonverbal part. So you don't have to force the nonverbal posture to look like they look like. You don't have to do that. You just have to show some openness, some open-mindedness about what they say. That's all. Now that this principle is being covered, we can go into the more elaborated techniques to get into that. The first one to build instant rapport with almost anyone is to use their name, the name of the person you are interacting with, at the same time you look between their eyes. There is a lot of science behind that, looking between the eyes, also spiritually it says you talk to their third eye. Why? Maybe yes, maybe no. The point is, when you look into their eyes, in the middle of their eyes, first of all, you are removing the potential insecurities, lack of comfort you may have if this is somebody you don't really feel confident around, either because it is somebody more confident than you, or maybe because it is somebody at your job who is in a higher position, or maybe it is somebody you want to date and you're nervous. Whatever the reason is, looking between their eyes will cancel or will decrease the nervousness on your side, so you are getting more relaxed. And at the same time, using their name, so if their name is Johnny, you say, you know, Johnny, and then you say anything you want to say. First of all, it will catch their attention, so the more attention they give you, the more connected they are with what you say. Second of all, if you want to make them imagine something or realize something, or you want to share some opinions, the fact of having mentioned their name first will make them reflect upon that. Whereas if you just enumerate things like this with people who are barely paying attention to you, which is normal if they don't really know you, why should they listen? And sometimes even people who know you, they don't listen either, so that's another problem. So Once you have mentioned their name, you have their full attention. One time, for example, I was reading some newsletter about some guy who was proposing investing services, or at least he was talking about it. And I was not really used to newsletters yet. I didn't know you could insert the name of the person into the newsletter. When you open your emails, sometimes some of them will use your name on the subject line or something like that. In that email, the guy was pretty smart. At some point, he was written, so my name is Matteo, and it was written like in the middle of the message, the main reason why Matteo is getting broke. And I was like, what? It was really catching my attention, like seeing my name in the middle of a phrase, main reason why Matteo is getting broke. Like, what? So it really made me want to listen to at least read the rest of the message. When you use their name before enumerating anything very important, you have their attention, they will imagine more thoroughly what you talk about, and that may decrease their resistance because you will be looking into their eyes, so you will be more relaxed because you look in the middle and not into the eye, which may be more intimidating, so everything is smoother. The technique number 2 is what we call a softener, I think, in the Milton model. It is about pacifying, decreasing any kind of resistance there might be linked with what you are going to say. If you want to talk about something sensitive, or something where you definitely know the person is not sharing your opinion, that person is definitely disagreeing with you, or it is something sensitive about them. Maybe it is a topic they don't really want to talk about because it is they are vulnerable about it, whatever the reason, something sensitive. The main thing is to tell them, I apologize in advance. I apologize in advance if it is something that is going to cause you any negative feelings. I apologize in advance if I am being rude. I apologize in advance if you won't like what I'm going to say. I apologize in advance if after I said what I have to say, you won't want to talk to me ever again. Planning the conversation like this is decreasing like 90% of the resistance that could have been caused later because you have already planned their mind to become more responsive, more at ease, more kind with what you're going to say. People hate cognitive dissonance. If you have made them validate that they were a good person, then they will be less likely to make any immoral action just after they have said out loud they were a good person. There has been countless studies about that phenomenon, cognitive dissonance. We hate incongruency in our brains. So when you say, I apologize in advance if I'm going to say something rude, do you want to hear it? If they say yes, they have validated that they wanted to be seen as an open-minded person. From there, anything you say, even something controversial or something where you know it is a sensitive topic, that person will be much more likely to accept it and also to appreciate that you have warned them, that you have acknowledged you could be a douchebag somehow. If what you say is kind of controversial, kind of pushing their hot buttons, but the fact of explaining firsthand, I apologize in advance, is of great use. And number 3 is to always start, as much as possible, start by enumerating personal facts about your life. Whenever you want to mention an opinion, whenever you want to give some advice, whenever you want to share a divergent opinion, already said, if you want to help somebody, if you want to get somebody's agreement about anything. First, enumerating facts and personal experience about yourself. Even better if you mention some uncomfortable things. You know, I fucked up in the past because I did this wrong and I regretted back in the day. That is the reason why today I want to tell you that blah blah blah. It will pass much better if you frame it like this, by first enumerating things vulnerable about yourself. It will work much better to talk about anything sensitive about the other person, who may otherwise have been just resistant. Just, who do you think you are to tell me that? If you say first, listen, I have done really bad things in the past, I know I fucked it up, and I really had some regret about it for years, that is the reason why if you allow it, I would like to tell you that the X, Y, Z, whatever. That is also a great strategy if you have anything important to ask to the person. You enumerate first. Listen, I have been working really hard this past years, this past months. I really had to take a lot on my shoulders for that period of time. It was uncomfortable, but I didn't really complain. As you can validate, I didn't complain about anything. And today I would like to ask you something personal. I would like to ask you something that will require your involvement in my journey, whatever. That the reason I ask you now is because I need your help, whatever. In that frame, if you have been showing things, explaining things about yourself first of all, you are encouraging the person to reciprocate and become more vulnerable with you too. So there will be much less resistance, there will be more human interaction, human contact, human empathy. If you show yourself vulnerable first, there will be more empathy and the person is much more likely to see you as a friend and be willing to give you the service you are asking for, to validate that even if they don't agree with everything you say, they can at least acknowledge you made a good point about this, about that, whatever. It is a great strategy to build a good level of reciprocation between the two of you. So those were techniques to build rapport. We had the use of their name as a recap, using their name while looking into their eyes, in the middle between their eyes. You have the softener, I apologize in advance if you don't like what I'm going to say. And the third one, explaining personal reasons about yourself, about your motivations, about your backstory, before asking for anything and before explaining anything that may be uncomfortable or difficult to hear for the person you are interacting with. Those are three important techniques, and then if you want to discover how to use your language to persuade, influence people in the good way by helping them to challenge their own limiting beliefs and become more receptive to positive change in whatever area of their life, you have a document down below called The 7 Steps to Master Sleight of Mouth. It will be of great use whenever you need to use your linguistic skills to help somebody move forward in life, or just when you want to defend yourself against people who might not respect the rapport with you. That is down below. It is completely free. You can download it right away. In any case, I tell you good luck with those skills. I hope you will master them pretty soon, and you can always come back to this channel whenever you have some questions. Thank you for listening or watching. Have a good day and see you soon.